Enter the realm of KSBM radio's creation. Student-led from inception to narration. Crafting content from dawn until dusk. All students involved in the work and the fuss. In the heart of Townview where voices reside. Student-led discussions where ideas collide. From interviews with leaders, peers, and businesses. Just watch us work, creating innovative content. Every aspect managed with student finesse. From podcast production to social media press. No task too daunting, no challenge too grand. KSBM Radio, we taking a stand. KSBM Radio, students leading the way. Every task idea, we seize the day. Witness now as all of our efforts break through. KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview.
Come closer to the music.
Broadcasting live from Marvin E. Robinson School of Business and Management, Dallas, Texas.
My radio station.
We are KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview. I'm Amethyst, here joined by my co-host,
Jade.
Juan. Richie.
Today we're doing something a little different. We are joined by Mr. Devlin Decutler, the longtime director of choir, modern band, and AP music theory here at Townview. Since 2006, his leadership has guided ensembles to consistent UIL sweepstakes, performances on major national stages, and a Grammy Signature Award. His AP music theory program has achieved a perfect 100% pass rate for more than a decade, and many of his former students have gone on to careers that include Grammy nominations, international tours, and major artistic contributions. Beyond the music department, Mr. Decutler mentors teachers across Dallas and around the country, builds partnerships with organizations like the Metropolitan Opera and Music Will, and supports his community through more than 17 years of ministry and mentoring at his church. In many ways, he is part of the Townview legacy just as much as the alumni we normally feature, shaping futures, building leaders, and raising the bar for what students can accomplish. This is also the 20th anniversary of Townview Music as a whole. Mr. Decutler, thank you for joining us. Is there anything you would like to say to our listeners before we begin?
First, just thanks for having me, and what a wonderful introduction. I feel really honored for being here. I think it's fair. Townview has been a huge part of my life for the last 20 years, and a huge part of who I am is because of this time at the school.
So let's begin with your roots. Where did you grow up, and what was life like in your childhood home?
Well, I was born in El Paso, or actually, I was born in Phoenix, but I grew up mostly in El Paso. And then when I was in middle school, we moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I've been here ever since. I have two great parents that did not necessarily get along. They got divorced when I was young, so I grew up in a single mom household. But both my parents were really good at showing me that they cared about me and supporting me. And then, just kind of navigating school through that and coming into music, sort of gradually over the course of my life.
Thinking about when you were young, sorry, what sparked your interest in music?
Well, I'd always been involved with music at my church, just singing in the congregation, nothing official or special. And then that sort of followed me through my whole life. And I did a lot of theater as well. And in high school, people told me, well, if you want to do theater and you want to be serious about it, you need to also sing in the choir. And I thought, I'm not good enough. I don't know enough about music. I'm not really good at reading music. I don't think they'll take me. I don't think they'll want me in their choir. They said, no, just try it anyway. Just go for it. And so I went to the choir director. Her name is Amy Alabon. And I said, hey, I'd like to be in choir, but I can't really read music. She's like, well, what have you done? I said, I've sung in my church. She's like, you're going to be just fine. So she had me sing a church hymn or a national anthem or something like that. And she's like, we would love to have you. And so from then on, I was in choir, and my theater director and choir director were really supportive with that.
So what were you like as a student in middle school and high school?
Oh, in middle school, I was really moody. No, I was. I was not a particularly great student, and I wish I could apologize to my teachers from that time. I spent 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade in 4 different towns. And so we moved around a lot as a kid. We didn't really have a lot of money. And so when things got too expensive one place, we just moved to another. When the landlord decided that they didn't want to rent anymore and they wanted someone to buy it, then we had to move. So that happened a lot. I was always the new guy, which is probably why I was so moody. And so I wasn't really engaged. I wasn't really involved. It really took my fine arts teachers, my theater and choir directors, to be like, hey, you should get involved. You should do stuff. And then I think I became a lot better student. It was all about motivation. And I think it's important that people find a source of motivation, that students allow themselves to be motivated by teachers, and that teachers reach out to students and find that person who's, maybe got the potential to be a good student like me, but due to life circumstances, they're not quite able to do it with a little support and a little push in the right direction.
Was there any teacher, director, or mentor from those years who left like a lasting impact on you?
I was blessed with a ton of really good teachers, just over and over and over. And I think that has a lot to do with where I am now. I remember a fifth grade teacher, Pauline Cornforth, was like the one who let me stay after school every day to finish my homework because I was too distracted and off task and unfocused I know people are making faces. Yeah, that was me. That was me. We don't just pop into the world fully formed. We're kind of messed up for a while. So I was failing her like most of her classes, and she let me stick around after school and do homework, and we, had a real bond there. And then I'd already talked about my high school choir director, Amy Alabon, another choir director, Robin Brockway, my theater director, Connie Sanchez. They were all people that just invested an enormous amount of time and effort into building me up and supporting me.
Is there a moment from your teenage years that still feels important in your development as a musician or as a person?
Oh, there's probably more than I can count. I'll list maybe one or two quick ones. One was the very first time I performed a song on stage by myself. And I wasn't even in choir yet, but it was a lot of what got me to join choir, because I joined choir like the week after I performed that. And then in my senior year, I was the lead in the school musical. We did Godspell, and I got to play Jesus, which is no pressure at all. No pressure. You're just playing the Son of God. But yeah, it was really challenging, and it really stretched me, and it built up something really powerful in me. So I think those are two of them.
So what guided your decision into your college's music program?
Well, because I was doing theater and music at the same time, I started by going to Texas Wesleyan because they had a really great musical theater department and degree at the time, and they're close. I lived in Fort Worth, so it's just right there. And I went there for a few years, and then I met a girl. We fell in love. We decided to get married, and so the future Mrs. D and I were both going to expensive private schools, and we said, you know what, we should save money, and we can't afford to both be in expensive private schools, so we'll switch to public school. So we both transferred to UT Arlington, great school, would recommend it to a friend, and finished out our undergrads there, and that little journey along that way, I also realized, you know what? Maybe instead of doing musical theater and doing performance the whole time, I think what I really want to do is be in charge. I really want to be the director running the show, and that led me to education, which most of my family are educators, and so that was something that was always sort of on the horizon as a possibility, but that kind of solidified the deal.
So how did your college studies shape your musicianship and your understanding of what great teaching looks like?
I tell people that you can learn something from every single person in your entire life. So certainly you can learn something from every teacher. Many of the times that's what to do or how to do something, and sometimes it's what not to do. So I had a lot of professors that were positive examples that I was like, yes, do it like that. And I had a few professors that was like, I will never do it that way. Okay, noted. That's what that looks like, so I'll avoid it. But by and large, I think most professors I had were just really genuine, really kind and knowledgeable, and they kind of guided me along the way. It takes a lot of people pouring into you to really fill your cup. And so one person alone can't do it, because then they would be totally empty. But everyone pours in a little bit, and then your cup gets filled. I think that's the way all of school, but certainly college works.
Now, going back to your early career before Townview, what were your first years of teaching like?
Oh, they were so hard. They were so very, very hard. I think anyone who survives their first couple years of teaching just needs a medal, needs some sort of award just for being alive and not in prison after your first couple years of teaching. I really think for your first 3 years, you're just a survivor. Maybe you're also kind of a teacher, but mostly you're just surviving. So they were super hard. When I came to Townview, there technically was a choir here, but only it was very tiny and pretty much no one took it more than 1 year. They went in, they took it for a year, then they left. And that's fine. That's fine. Band and orchestra kind of had their things going, but in general, music wasn't a huge priority at Townview. And that's something that I've been able to see grow over time, that music has really become a big feature of the school, part of the school's identity, and that it's become part of the destination that is Townview. Currently, right now, if you look up on Apple Maps and you look up our school, it calls it a music school, which is really funny. I don't know if it's a typo, but I'm just going to claim it as a mark of success. I think that what a lot of people do when they encounter challenges, like my first couple of years of teaching that were so very, very hard, is they say, oh, this is a bad fit for me. This is the wrong place for me. I'm out of here. And I think that if more people were not so consumed looking at the grass being greener on the other side, and they were more concerned with like growing in and of themselves and growing where they're planted, not only would they be more successful, but they'd be a lot happier. You can change your environment, or you can allow your environment to change you. And maybe I'm too stubborn or too dumb or whatever, but I got here and it was really hard, and I just didn't leave. I just stayed. I thought about leaving a few times, especially early on this first couple of years, but for whatever reason, God's like, no, sit, stay, be there. And I think it really shaped a lot of who I am and my take on resiliency and perseverance and personal growth, which is why I think I can say that to a lot of students, saying like, hey, just keep at it. It's going to get better. It's going to get easier.
So what are some early challenges or successes that helped you understand the kind of educator you wanted to become?
Everyone has these grand visions of what they're going to do, and it pretty much just reflects what they've seen before. They've seen like, oh, this is successful, I'm going to copy that. And that's almost never the way it works. It almost always is a unique situation with a unique solution. And so if you had talked to me 20 years from now and said, hey, your music program's going to look like this, I'd be like, is it really? Like, I never in a million years would have seen myself as the rock band director. So I think that when you encounter those unique situations or those challenges, the pathway to the solution is not something that anyone can predict. And so, going to UIL for the first time, or even just my first concert, the first time I got to conduct the orchestra or the band or the starting rock band for the very first time, those were all big scary moments where I'm like, how is this even going to work? And I couldn't see the destination, but I could see the next step. I could see the very next thing. Well, whatever I do, I'm going to have to do this first. So a lot of times I just had to go by faith and say, well, that's my next step. And I think that makes a big difference in our lives, where even if we could predict the future, we wouldn't believe it. We have to just look at what's in front of us.
So you joined Townview in 2006. What brought you here at first, and what were you hoping to build?
Oh, well, I needed a job, so that's what brought me here. I absolutely needed a job because, food and rent cost money, unfortunately. And no one else would hire me, and I could not figure out why. I'm like, I'm a good student. I'm on the dean's list. I got a good GPA, great recommendations. Nobody wanted me. Went to a couple interviews, never got a call back, never got an email. Yeah, it was real rough. And so the first day of school, I actually found out that there was an opening. There are actually a bunch of openings in Dallas. And my wife's like, you should apply. And I'm just wallowing in self-pity and despair. I'm just like, no, I'm not good enough. No one wants me. And so she's like, no, you got to apply. And so she made me set up an appointment, and I went in for an interview, and they're like, yeah, we'd like to have you. But due to a complicated situation we could talk about another time, I couldn't actually start working at the school right away, so I had to wait like a month. And then I came into school like a month late. And so I think that what brought me here is divine providence, God saying, go here. They're the only ones that wanted to hire me. What kept me here is that I realized that Townview and I are actually a really good fit for each other. Like, it's a very, very good match.
So Townview has like a unique mix of 6 different schools in one. How did that environment influence your approach when you first arrived?
I was utterly clueless and did everything wrong. So, because no other school is like that. No other school is set up like this. So any of the other plans or solutions that I thought I would do just didn't work. It took literally years for me to figure out what things are going to look like. So our model, where we have levels 1 through 4 in choir and modern band all mixed up randomly, that was not the original plan. That was not by design. No one does that because it's crazy. No one does that because it's super hard. But also, no one gets to see the benefit of something like that. Sometimes you have to be crazy. In order to be outstanding, you have to first stand out. And so that informed all of the decisions we made after that. Everything from the way our classes work, to how we mix levels in, to the type of repertoire we pick, to the type of concerts we pick. Everything is generated by this type of school that Townview is and the type of students that Townview has. And those self-assured, self-starting, self-motivated, driven, passionate people that Townview attracts are really the only people that could be successful in this type of environment. And so I think that's really what makes us unique. We have so many things about us that no one else does. So you couldn't take a program from another school and put it at Townview and it be successful. And also you probably couldn't take our program and put it somewhere else and be successful because we are so unique.
So you direct the choir, modern band, and AP music theory programs that become some of the strongest in the state.
That's very kind of you.
No, it is. It's facts. What guiding philosophy help these programs grow?
So the guiding philosophy, the guiding philosophy of how these programs grow, I think that first we cultivate good people who then become good musicians. One of the sayings that we talk about a lot is that we have a musical family. You know, and all of our emails and everything are addressed to music family, or choir family, or modern band family. So I think that we build a safe environment. We build something that people can be creative and expressive and artistic without feeling threatened. We create an environment in which friendships are likely to grow. We create an environment in which creativity is nurtured. And then our slogan or phrase that we say is never settle. And then we just move from there. So we start with hey, everyone's going to respect everyone. And then we go to, now, what's the next step? What's the next thing? How do we get better than we were yesterday? We're not measuring ourselves against an outside parameter. We're not measuring us against another program. We're measuring our today against our yesterday. And we're seeing how we can improve from there.
So your students have performed at major venues, collaborated with world-class organizations, and even earned a Grammy Signature Award. What accomplishment stands out the most to you personally?
Oh, again, there's 20 years, so there's so many. The very first time that we performed at Regional UIL and we got sweepstakes, that's a really big one. People were literally crying on stage at a UIL competition, which I don't know if that's ever happened, at least not good crying. Like, probably there's some of that, but like we were good crying on stage. We were really happy. The first time that, the time that we got to perform at the Texas Music Educators Association our annual conference, that was really great. So yeah, there've been a bunch, but I don't know. I think that each year has its own special magic. Each group of people have their own memories. And I bet if you asked any year of students, they would have their own. And it would be a little bit different for different reasons. So I don't know, too many to count, I guess.
So you built partnerships with many groups like the Music Will and the Country Music Hall of Fame. How do these collaborations expand what students experience in your classroom?
Oh, it's a game changer. We get to do things that no one else gets to do. You mentioned Music Will and the Country Music Hall of Fame. Free instruments. That's a big thing. That's a game changer. There's a lot of people that couldn't be in it if they had to rent their own instrument or buy their own instrument or own their instrument. But also, like, how many schools get to collaborate with professional songwriters? How many schools get to, like, go see opera performances or get to, talk with opera singers? There have been a ton that really set us apart as some wonderful experiences for students. I think that what draws all of those experiences together, the common uniting factor, is that it gives people things that they never would have had otherwise, which makes a big deal when you talk about like economically disadvantaged students, but even just from a cultural standpoint, people, even if they had the means, they wouldn't have been part of something like that.
So many of your former students now have careers that include Grammy nominations, international tours, and significant creative projects. What do you see in those students early on that tells you they are ready for that level of success?
Well, I don't always see it early on because sometimes it takes a while to grow and develop. But I'd say that what is present, if not initially, then somewhat quickly, is a passion and a desire. I say over and over to people, it's not how many years you've been doing something, it's how many hours you've been doing something. So the passion and the desire to push through and work at something, to develop their craft, to expand their knowledge, that is probably the biggest common factor that all of the students that I have that have gone on to be massively successful in whatever endeavor, maybe it's music, maybe it's politics, maybe it's medicine or engineering. They're all very passionate and they're not afraid of hard work over many, many thankless weeks and months and years in order to achieve that. And I think if you have that, then you're very likely to be successful in whatever you apply that passion toward.
Well, something I found in your professional bio is your longstanding involvement with your church. How has your faith shaped the way you teach, lead, and support young people?
Oh, well, my faith is a big part of who I am. I'm a Christian, and I think that moral compass drives, I'd like to say it drives every decision in my life. It certainly, I try to let that drive every big decision in my life. I think that my faith makes me more compassionate and patient and caring than I otherwise would be on a purely humanistic standpoint. I think it helps me to see the long term and not get caught up in the day to day. I'm absolutely imperfect, and so I still get stressed out about, oh, we're not doing this in time for that. And people still get on my nerves, and the day before a concert, I'm tired and stressed and grouchy and things like that. But I think in general, that part of me, that faith and that trust and that eternal mindset helps me to be a lot more compassionate. And I think that that's what helps me connect with students and maybe show them some grace that they otherwise wouldn't get.
So you and your wife have led a couples group for more than 17 years and mentor young couples. How has this work deepened your understandings of relationships, growth, and guiding others?
Well, my wife and I are about to celebrate our 22nd wedding anniversary. And so we've been working with other couples pretty early on in our own marriage. And I think it's helped strengthen our marriage. And that strong marriage helps us to just be happier and less stressed and more kind of whole people. And that helps us to kind of be from a healthier standpoint to go help others. I think that, all of human life is defined by relationships, your relationship with family and friends and spouses and parents and coworkers. And so strengthening relationships is strengthening people. And I think it's a natural extension as an educator to help people in that personal life. And it gives us a chance to work with adults, at our church and that we do professionally as well, in addition to students.
So you also mentor teachers locally and nationally. What perspectives do you try to pass on to the educators at the beginning of their careers?
Oh, yeah, because those first few years are so hard, right? So I think the first one is to be patient and gracious with yourself, to know that nothing is achieved without effort or without time. Diamonds take a long time and a lot of pressure in order to be created. And most anything meaningful, most anything valuable is going to take that time and that effort. So new teachers, and students, I'd say, just be kind and compassionate with yourself and give yourself time. Keep working, keep pushing, give yourself time and ask for help if you need it. And then people are going to be happy to help.
So this is our last question. It's our signature question. If you could go back and give advice to your high school self, what would you say?
Oh, I'd sit him down and we'd have a long talk. And probably the first thing I would say is don't worry about other people's opinions of you. Just don't pay any attention to what other people think of you. Maybe choose like one or two important people in your life and be like, how am I doing? Give me some feedback. But most of the people in your life are not going to give you great advice. Certainly in high school, everyone's going through the same stuff. No one's got it figured out. You're following people that are just faking their way through things. So don't get caught up in oh, this person likes me, that person doesn't like me. And for you guys, it's way harder than when I was in high school in the 90s. If I didn't like someone and I wasn't around them, we didn't have any interaction. But you guys have to be victim of the entire internet coming down on you if there's a fight between you and your friends. So if my high school self were like alive and in high school in this year, it would be really hard. But I think stop worrying about what other people think about you, say about you. You're not the main character in their story. They're not spending every waking hour thinking about you. I'm sorry, maybe that's a hard truth. They're not. You're not the most important part of their lives. So their opinion of you should have a proportionally small value in your life. And from that point, that's very freeing. The moment that I realized that, and it was about in high school that I kind of came to the realization, like, wait, these people don't matter. Like, I mean, they're people, but like their opinion of me doesn't matter. So then I can kind of just live my best life and be my best self and follow my dreams and my own standards. You know, that doesn't free you toward apathy. That doesn't free you toward, immorality. That frees you to like go into who you think you should be and not worry about others. Hopefully he'd be a little happier and save some heartache.
So, Mr. Decutler, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today. Your story from your early life and musical beginnings to your college training, your career at Townview, your community work, and the success of the students you have guided continues to inspire everyone who walks these halls. Your dedication, your compassion, and the heart you bring to teaching have made a lasting impact on generations of Townview students. Each interview reminds us of the extraordinary strength of the Townview community, but also the people who shape it every single day. This has been KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview.
Stay awesome.
Thank you for listening to KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview.
My radio station.
We hope you enjoyed the great content and great discussion, all from a student's perspective. Make sure to follow us on Twitter for the latest updates at KSBM_TVT or on Facebook at KSBM Radio.
Add them on Facebook.
Check them on Facebook. Take care.